Andrew, what's your 3 favorite DC or Marvel movies? This whole thing with Charlie made me realize I wanted to thank you for everything. Well, you don't have to thank me, man, but I appreciate the support. Favorite DC movies? So I guess that would just be DC characters, right? The original 2 Batman movies were great with Michael Keaton. I would put those 2 at the top of my DC list. And then, let's see. You know what? That's basically it for DC. I don't really like DC that much. Not their movies. They've not done a good job with them. As far as Marvel goes, I like most of the Marvel movies. I thought they did a really good job with Iron Man. They definitely got the right person to play Tony Stark. They did a really good job with that. So the Iron Man series, definitely a good one. But yeah, DC doesn't do a very good job with their movies. They ruined Superman. They ruined Batman. I liked Christian Bale's Batman too, but it lost all of its whimsical nature. You know, like Keaton got it right with the dark association of the Dark Knight, but with also kind of the lunacy that was going on. That was always really important to the Batman series, was that he was living in a crazy world. He was living in a world of insanity, and that's why that world needed Batman. Because it was a world of just purely fucking just crazy shit happening all the time. And the Christian Bale movies, they were good, but they lost that feel. The world that he lived in felt like it was just the regular world, and then they tried to fit Batman into it. The Michael Keaton Batman with Tim Burton felt like it was a world full of chaos that needed to have a Batman in it. The DC, the Michael Keaton Batman, that world needed him. It was a crazy world full of the Max Shreks and just bizarre shit happening all the time. And they made the world that he lived in so bizarre that Batman was possible. The Christian Bale Batman, it just seemed like they added him to the normal world and just tried to fold it around, and it didn't work. You know, like the whole tank scene. He's driving down the street in his tank, and then they're like, gee, we're really confused. Who is this guy? It's like, bro, who the fuck else besides Bruce Wayne is going to be able to afford this massive battle tank and drive it down the street with state-of-the-art weaponry? Who? There's like, what would you have? 2 suspects? 3 suspects? Gee, do you think that the billionaire over there at Wayne Tech with the weapons department might know something about this ginormous fucking death machine that's driving down the street right now? No, I don't think so, Detective Bullock. Let's just get back to business as usual. Stupidest fucking shit in the world. This is the dumbest shit in the world. Tell me that wasn't stupid. It was like a massive plot hole in the movie. I was watching. I was like, what the fuck? Like, nobody could figure this out? Really? Nobody could figure out that this massive, ginormous death machine driving down the street could probably only have been afforded by like a couple of people on planet Earth, and like 2 of them live in the city. Not really buying that, you know? Hey, Janus for 5 says, the Batman with Sparkles, a.k.a. Robert Pattinson, was surprisingly good. They brought back the dark, fucked up world feel. Not really. Not really. Listen, the whole thing that makes Batman fun and like a believable character is that for him to exist, the world around him has to be full of lunatics. And not just the like villains, but just almost everybody around him is just fucking kind of zany and crazy and a little bit of a lunatic. All over the streets, the politicians, kind of like everybody's a little bit crazy. And he can exist in that environment because he's fucking crazy. Like he's as crazy as they are. He just happens to fight on the side that people root for, but he's as crazy as they are. And that's what makes him interesting and compelling in the world that he exists in, fun to read about. But the second you take him and you put him in like, oh, we're in the modern United States and Bane is here during a fucking Wall Street riot, it's like it just defeats the whole purpose of the thing. Andrew, we're all hoping you take Charlie's place of influence. Yeah, fucking right, dude. Give me a break. That guy was groomed for power for years and years and years and years. There ain't no way I'd ever be able to do or run an organization like that. I don't have the requisite to do it. I don't have the chops to do it, and it's not my gift. My gift is exactly what I do. How do we join TikTok invasion panel? Is there a link? No, you just got to be smart, bro. Had tickets for Kimmel tonight, and I'm not saying you're dumb. I'm just saying got to be smart about it. Had tickets for Kimmel tonight. I had a chocolate milkshake already. Damn it. Damn it. You mean you didn't like George Clooney and his Batman and his Bat credit card? Yeah, that wasn't, no, not really. A little kind of corny, but since we're talking about heroes, if Charlie's our Captain America, Andrew is our Frank Castle, a.k.a. Punisher. See, what now, Punisher, what makes him interesting is that you take all of them, like, kind of, you have to build the world, too. But the world that the Punisher lives in is not a world full of crazy people. It's a world full of significant corruption. It's just so corrupt, and everybody in it is so corrupt that every time he pulls the trigger, you can't help but be like, yeah! But you have to really build that world out and show just how corrupt it is. You have to, like, take the United States government and put it on super steroids for corruption, and then take, like, the normal mob and put it on, again, super steroids for corruption. You have to build that world out to make the Punisher compelling. Then if you're talking about entertainment, do you think there's utility in mutually aiding to mob-infected fandoms? Is it even possible to rescue cultural landmarks like Star Wars, Superman, 40K, etc.? It is. It is. There's an up-and-coming kind of fan base for those that I don't think that they have gotten there yet, but I think that they will get there, especially the up-and-coming kind of Zoomer fan base who want to see a restoration of those genres. So, I mean, Disney fucked Star Wars. Everybody knows that. I mean, they fucked it up real bad. The Mandalorian was okay, but that was it. They fucked up Kenobi. They fucked it all up. But I do think you could see a restoration, because what you could do right now, and I think Star Wars fans would actually thank you for it, is you could just revise the entirety of the canon and strike all of it except the Lucas movies as being canonical and start from scratch. And I think Star Wars fans would be like, thank you. Thank you. Yep, none of it's canonical. Only the Lucas films are canonical. That's it. Everything else, bullshit. And it struck off, and then you could retell these stories and they would be good. You are correct with Batman. It's why Arkham Asylum was the main focus of the city. Exactly. Now, Arkham Asylum, the video games did Batman justice. Okay? Video games did Batman justice for sure. Throughout expanded universe in order to not pay royalties. No, you got to listen. I'm sorry, you got to retcon that series to save it. You got to retcon it. You got to just start all over. The Lucas films are canon, and now everything after this is canon, and that's it. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to save it. Because the lore is stupid. It doesn't make any sense. And they keep introducing characters in a way that makes no sense. Like, let me give you an example. So I'm recently replaying Jedi Soul Survivor. And, before that, they had the prequel to that game, which was Fallen Order. Great games. But they don't make any fucking sense at all. The whole idea was that Luke Skywalker, all the Jedi were dead except for Obi-Wan Kenobi, who was in exile, and Yoda. That was it. And then there was Luke Skywalker. That's why he was literally called the Final Hope, right? What was the first movie? Wasn't it called A New Hope? Because he was it. It was just him, and that was it. But in these games, Like, apparently there's a whole remnant of Jedi who are consistently working towards taking out the Empire on the side, having all kinds of crazy adventures. They rebuild a bunch of the Order underground and all this shit, and Skywalker just doesn't know anything about it. Neither does Yoda, neither does Obi-Wan Kenobi. They're just like, oh, I had no idea. I mean, I mean, this is only like, what, 20 years or something between the fall of the Order and Luke Skywalker? You know, it's like 20 years or 25 years or something. It's not very long. And in the game, they're like, this kid, Cal, they're like, man, your name is famous far and wide by the Empire. You know, they're terrified of you. This and like Obi-Wan just never heard about it. Never heard about this Jedi going around just tearing the fucking galaxy to pieces. Just like, oops, I just, you know, it must have slipped my mind. You know, it's just this fucking stupid. They don't make any sense. They make zero sense. I thought it was like 200 years. No, it's not 200 years, dude. How old do you think Anakin Skywalker is? I think in the movies he was like in his 50s, and I'm pretty confident that he was like mid-20s by the time he became Darth Vader. So it wasn't that long. You know, it was only like 20 or 25 years or some shit. Now I got to look it up. How long did the Empire last? 24 years. Yeah, 24 fucking years. Yeah, the game makes no sense. I meant the books when I said the expanded universe. Kathleen threw them out. Yeah. None of it makes any sense. You're just going to have to start all over. So, yeah, you could save some of those series if you did that. You know, it's kind of like, you guys remember, so we had Lord of the Rings. And those movies were just fantastic. I mean, it's hard to find anybody who didn't like the Lord of the Rings movies. Even if they never read the books, they really liked the movies. And then they were like, oh, well, you know what we need to do? We need to go ahead and fuck all this up. Oh, really, Peter? How should we do that? We'll make The Hobbit into a 3-part and add a bunch of fucking filler that makes absolutely no sense. And Legolas is going to get involved with some elven broad nobody cares about that's talking to a dwarf that never had any sort of relationship with an elf in the book. We're just going to fuck the whole thing up. And then we're going to give it to Amazon so that they can make an extended woke fucking series that happened 2,000 years before that we have basically no lore for. Fuck the whole thing up. Just fuck the whole thing up. My new favorite trilogy is now Andor Season 1, 2, and Rogue One, minus the female fatality. Rogue One sucked. Stop trying to gaslight me into thinking Rogue One was a good movie. It wasn't a good movie. Andor Season 1 was okay. Season 2 wasn't great. My young son asked me if Obi-Wan knew about Layla. Why did you say Luke was her last hope? I told him because Obi-Wan has no faith in women. True. True. Say what you will, Rogue One was top tier. It was not top tier. It wasn't good. It was a trash movie. What was good about it? What was good about it? There was nothing good about that movie. They even did the stupid droid sidekick thing. I disagree wholeheartedly with this. Andor was pure cinema. Season 1 was good. It was good. I admit that. Season 2, not so good. You play the Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War, it was dope. Seeing how Sauron became the eye and shit. No, see? Look, that's what I'm talking about. Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War, both great games. They were fantastic games. They were super fun to play. The Nemesis system was great. But the lore was all fucked up and made no sense. The lore made no sense. So there was what? There was pre-battles with Sauron from some fucking spirit elf who made the rings and just like nobody knew about this? Nobody had any clue that this was going on? This guy's terrorizing all of Mordor and just word never got out to the fucking hobbits in the Shire and, the Fellowship of the Ring. It's like, it makes no fucking sense. Okay? It makes no sense. It makes zero sense. Peter Jackson is doing the Similarian. Oh, no. I hope not. Don't get me started on the eating scene in The Hobbit. 30 minutes of just annoying ass shit I hated. Yeah. And by the way, that was like 2 pages in the book. 2 pages. Long Wing D-Train for 10 says you should read the books by Tim Zahn that center around Mara Jade. I've read it. An ex-Vader apprentice that eventually becomes Luke's wife. I've read that shit. Okay? I've read all about Luke's stupid-ass relatives, fall of the dark side. It's just trash, man. I found that a bunch of lefties love Lord of the Rings, but either don't understand or ignore the underlying values of it. Maybe why Rings of Power suck. Sauron was a fascist, and Middle-earth was fighting for freedom. Stupid. Had nothing to do with the entire concept of J.R.R. Tolkien using a Catholic worldview and lens to re-explain why God is so necessary in our lives and how you can end up with the anointings of kings through divine ascension, which is really good for humanity. Had nothing to do with that. It had to do with Sauron's a fascist. He's a fascist. Look, he wants the ring to control people. Stupid fucking lefty scumbag idiots. Don't know shit about nothing. People who love culture, they sure don't know shit about it, do they? It's like the least culturally enriching people who've ever lived is fucking leftists. You don't like the droid sidekick thing, but you call Cal Kestis games don't be a liberal? No. In the Fallen Order series, the droid wasn't actually a sidekick. He was a tool. He was a valuable tool. Not a sidekick. Like R2-D2 was a tool, not a sidekick. Look, they were so dispensable that Luke Skywalker gave R2-D2 and C-3PO away to a fat mob lord. Chances of getting you and Ben Shapiro to debate whether Rogue One was good or not, I would do it. No Jaceberg says for 5, my brother went to the cinema to watch the first Lord of the Rings movie, but he left after half an hour. Loved the book, so I don't get it. I don't get that either, because they were really good. You should check out EEAP, Every Frame a Pause. They do a super long-form film, gaming, etc. critique podcast, and they cover Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I'll check it out. Shadow of War's lore was so awful, incredibly stupid. The game mechanics were cool, though. Yeah, the game was fun. I mean, it was just plain fun. They took the really cool combat system from Batman, and then they put it in that game, except it was swords and fatalities, which made it 10 times more awesome.